Hello, beauties. Welcome to Moms Unboxed, a podcast where I unbox with you the how to's, tips, and tricks to empower women to upgrade relationships, intimacy, and parenting. I'm your host, Melanie Caroline, a multidimensional woman, life coach, lover, and mom who's made a lot of fucking mistakes. If you want to live a sensual and liberated life, you've come to the right space. Don't forget to follow Moms Unboxed because you don't want to miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Moms Unboxed. I am so excited that you're here with me today, listening this week. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and if you're not, I trust that it will turn around for you. What are we unboxing today? Man, I am on fire today. I had the worst dreams last night. I had a nightmare that someone was robbing the house, and I got up and creeped toward the door. There was a little sliver of space in the door, and when I looked through it, this man was standing there with a painting just staring at me. And I pretended like I didn't see him, and then I crawled back to bed and I was like, Donnie, get the gun. Then I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm in a different house. I'm safe. Should I get my gun? No, I'll be all right. It's just a dream. And then I just had more crazy ass dreams. And I hear there is a lot going on with the planets. And I don't even know because I haven't read up on it, but it has been crazy activity in my brain at night. Last night was a doozy. I woke up not feeling very good, but right now I'm feeling energetic. I'm lit up. If you don't know, I have a Moms Unboxed group on Facebook. I want you in this space. Join me and other women and mothers who are having more conversations about being unboxed and having more in depth conversation about emotional intelligence. This week, we are chatting about trust when it comes to honesty, integrity, boundaries, supportiveness, accountability, and knowing that trust is a choice. It's a little bit more in depth conversation on each of these keys to foundation of trust. And this is what was discussed during episode number 39 when my brother and I did a podcast episode on the foundation to building trust. So important, y'all. Seriously, important to build trust within yourself and important to build trust within your relationships. So that's what we're unboxing this week. We're going to talk more in depth about honesty because I believe this is so important to be honest with yourself and honest in your relationship. So I want you to think about right now, how can you be more honest with yourself? Is it being honest with how you're feeling about yourself? Or being honest about where you're at in your relationship, how you're feeling about how the relationship is going? Oftentimes, when we're feeling some shame or guilt around a certain situation or person, it's harder to admit those things to ourselves than it is to just kind of ignore it, just kind of let it go to the back of the mind. If we don't think about it, it's not a problem, right? But that's not the case because when we're not in alignment and honest with who we are and what our circumstance is, it can eat at us. We can only keep things on the back burner for so long, y'all. Only for so long before our body starts getting resistant to the thing that we are not being honest about. We could feel kind of scummy and icky, like, ugh. It's like having a one night stand and you wake up and you look at the person and you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? You just kind of feel gross. That's what it's like when you're not honest with yourself. You just start kind of feeling gross. Okay? So please, during this episode, think about where can you be more honest with yourself? Honesty in a relationship is the number one key to building that trust. even when we have to have those deeper, more uncomfortable conversations, honesty is always the best solution. Because you know what? I can't stand a liar. What do they say? Omitting. That's lying still, right? You're just not being completely honest. You might be at like 60% honesty. We have to be honest in our relationship. And if you're like, Mel, I cannot be honest in my relationship or my partner is going to blow up at me and I don't feel like I could trust the safety and security that we have so that I can be 100% honest. Girl, I hear you. So that is a factor, right, to how honest we can be with our partner is assessing, is my partner a safe person to bring up tougher conversations or to be completely transparent? So think about whether or not your partner is a safe person to approach. Can they be a person that you can be completely transparent with? And if not, identify why. Let's fix this. If your partner is not a safe person to approach with your feelings, your wants, your needs, and desires, you need to talk to them about it. You need to say, hey, I would like to feel safe bringing my emotions, my thoughts to you. And I'd like to bridge this gap. I know in the past I haven't felt completely safe, but here's what I need in order to feel safe. You're not pointing out why you don't feel safe. You're pointing out what you need from them to feel safe. You see, that takes away the blame and the shame when we approach it with, hey, here's what you can do so that I can feel safe. Because if we approach it like, here's all the things that you've done that hasn't made me feel safe, A, B, C, D, I'm gonna light your ass on fire, that's not helping build a bridge to safety. That's just blaming and shaming and causing more strife in your relationship. So what you want to do is assess, what do you need to feel safe, and bring that to their attention. Okay, we're not pointing out the faults. We're adding to the foundation of trust, which is, hey, here's what I need to feel safe. Can you meet me there? And, my hope for you is that, yes, they bridge that gap. The other thing, if you do have a partner that you feel safe with, then ask yourself, are you being 100% honest with them? Because here's what my partner and I love to discuss. We talk about the honesty spectrum. How honest are you from 0 to 100 with yourself and with your partner? And this goes for family members and children too. But in this scenario, we're talking about the self, the relationship with the self, and the relationship with your partner. So, on the honesty spectrum, when you come home at the end of the day and they ask you, hey, how was your day? And you say it's good, but you've really had a shitty day, but you didn't want to get into it, but you still say good. Where are you on the honesty spectrum? It's better to say, I didn't really have a good day, but I don't really feel like talking about it right now. That's being 100%, right? So that could go for other things too. Asking them how they're feeling about the relationship or how do they want to improve the intimacy within the relationship. And they give you a response. You could always say, hey, how honest are you being on the honesty spectrum? Donnie and I do this all the time. He's at 100 and I'm at 100 because we're just at that point in our relationship where we don't need to not share our feelings and emotions and our desires. We are honest with each other because we feel safe with each other. Now, my past relationship, that wasn't exactly true. We omitted all kinds of shit. We didn't really talk about the intimate, deep shit that Donnie and I talk about now. So our honesty spectrum back in the day with my husband was like 40 to 50% because we just didn't talk. We just kind of swept it under the carpet, you know, let that big pile of dust accumulate under the carpet till it became a giant fucking hill that we couldn't even climb no more. So, don't let your relationship get like that. Be honest and truthful with each other. That's going to build trust. And I find that when you are honest with yourself, you are going to be more honest in your relationship. Honesty is more than not telling blatant lies. It's a much broader concept that we have to conceptualize. And one of those things is truthfulness with your words. Are you staying factually true and deliberately avoiding misrepresentations within your words? So oftentimes, some of my clients come to me, they will tell me how they're feeling, what their experience is with their words, but it doesn't exactly match what's happening internally. So we have to dig a little deeper. We have to understand the limiting beliefs and the narratives that they're telling themselves that is contributing to how they're feeling emotionally. So think about this the next time that you have a conversation with your partner. Are you being true with your words? Does it match your internal world? Does it match what it is you're experiencing? Because when we use words that aren't exactly in alignment with how we are feeling, what we are experiencing with our thoughts and emotions, it's not that you're trying to lie. It's that you don't understand exactly how to put in words what your internal experience is. So we have to get really good at being self aware, being aware of our thoughts, our emotions, our sensations, in order to find the vocabulary words to explain what really truly is going on inside. And think about this too in a different way. We're going to shift this a little bit. Being truthful with your words. This is part of that omission I was talking about earlier. Is are your words really truthful, or are you omitting, twisting, turning your words to fit the scenario that you want? So think about that too. Does your partner do this? I know my children, particularly my son, does this. He will say one thing and then I'll repeat it to him, and then he'll be like, "Oh, I didn't say that. This is what I said." It's like, wait a minute, homie. That is not what you said. You cannot twist, shift, and turn what it is you said because it doesn't fit your scenario anymore or the outcome that you want. So think about that too when you're listening to your children, your partner. How often do they pivot the story when they shift the words? And when they do this, it's a misrepresentation and it is factually untrue. So that is a part of honesty that we need to consider. The other is, how transparent and open are you? Are you willing to be vulnerable with your thoughts, feelings, and experiences? Are you truly being open to what your partner has to say to you? Are you being transparent and curious? This is part of that piece that I was saying, that both people in the relationship needs to be safe. They need to be a safe person so that you can feel and they could feel that they can be transparent and open. And part of the role of the receiver is to be curious, to not be judgmental, not be blaming the other person for how they feel. Understanding that transparency and openness leads to a greater connection of honesty. The other part of honesty is you being authentic. How authentic are you? Do you get to be your true self in your relationship? Or do you find that you have to hide parts of you because your partner doesn't like the way you do something? And so you hide parts of that. How authentic are you being with how you feel in your relationship? How authentic are you being with yourself? Are you being genuine? Are you allowing the person to connect to the real you? And you have to think about this, especially for you mamas who are starting to date, okay? We don't allow people to see all of our true colors when we're first dating someone. We show them the bright, colorful crowns in the crown box, but it's not until we move in with the person or we start dating them more that we start to see different colors in the crown box. We're like, "Oh, okay. There's some dull colors in there. I noticed you're omitting some things or you're not being as honest or I noticed that you don't like to pick up after yourself." Okay, I didn't know that until we moved in together. I didn't know that my husband was a liar until I moved in with him and the power was starting to get shut off all the time. Okay, I did not know he was not good at bills until the water was getting shut off. Okay. So you have to remember not everyone is going to be their authentic self when they're starting to date. They're going to show you the cool side, you know. They're trying to get you in the door. They're trying to take you on dates. They're trying to make you laugh and to make you smile and we want people to like us. We're not saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, here's all the shit that I did in my past and by the way, I don't like doing A, B, or C." Yeah. We're not trying to show those parts of us right now. But as the relationship progresses, you need to identify, are you being genuine? Are you being your true self? Because part of being honest is authenticity. The other key to being honest, I've mentioned it before, being honest with yourself. This is crucial and oftentimes overlooked. Because if we can't be honest with ourselves, we cannot be fully honest with someone else. That's just the bottom line. Being honest with yourself starts with understanding your needs, wants, and desires. It is with understanding your feelings, your emotions, your beliefs, your values, your morals. Do you know that part of you? Do you understand where you lie with those things? Because if you don't know that about yourself, how are you going to find a compatible partner? How are you going to have a thriving relationship? Understanding your values, morals, and beliefs is part of building that trust because you have to find a partner that can either align with you or you can bridge that gap. I'm not saying every single part of you has to match your partner. I'm saying you have to know yourself well enough so that you can have those conversations with your partner to understand if you're compatible or not compatible with each other. So think about that too. How honest are you with yourself? Do you know you as much as you think you know you? Because I sometimes hear from people, oh, my partner knows me better than I do. Honey, that should not be the case. Okay? They could know you just as much, depending on how honest and transparent you are and how authentic you are to that person. But you should know you best because the most important relationship is the one you're going to have with yourself. And you need to know you from the inside out. All the layers of the onion, okay? Down to the core. I don't even know if an onion has a core, but you know what I'm saying. So, honesty is so important because it shows respect for your relationship. It shows respect to all the relationships that you have in your life. Being honest with your boss, your family, your children, your partner, and with yourself. It is a fundamental part of building that foundation of trust. Now, when you're being honest with your partner, things to consider, okay? Your tone and delivery. This is something I've had to work on so much. My tone has been an issue my entire life. And a lot of my tone comes from me being self critical. Oftentimes, it has nothing to do with the person that I'm talking to. It's just I don't understand something or I don't agree with something. And then I'm like, what? I get kind of like this tone. So I've had to work on my tone and be very mindful of how I say things, especially as a projector. Y'all, if you don't know human design, look it up. But as a projector, one of my gifts is I see things that people do not. That is what makes me such a beautiful intuitive mentor. Is I oftentimes can see within people even some things that they don't see for themselves. But with that, I have learned that I cannot give unsolicited advice. I have to ask people, do you want my input? So I have to work on my delivery and not being so blunt or straightforward, that I need to show that respect, that empathy and kindness within my words, even when I'm seeing things that people are not seeing. So with your partner, when you're being honest with them, you're not going to come at them like, I don't like this about our relationship. Da, 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 da. That is not how to go about communicating to your partner and building trust. You are going to have to contemplate and be very mindful about what you want to say. So that's not blaming, it's not shaming, and come from a place of kindness and tenderness because it's your relationship you're talking about, and you're talking to a person that you really like or that you really love. And so when we talk to the person that we love, we want to approach it with compassion. I'll give you an example. I was contemplating and reflecting on our relationship, and this is something I would like to improve. I'd like to improve the intimacy in our relationship. I'd like to go on more dates. I would like to flirt more. Is that something we could do together? It's the way you approach being honest that's also just important as being honest. You want to be a person of safety for your partner and vice versa. That means that you have to be mindful of your communication and how you approach a conversation. This is going to build mutual respect and a stronger connection with one another. And don't we all want that in a relationship? Don't we all want to be a place of safety, of love, of connection and compassion, holding our relationship with tenderness even through the rough times? I know I do. I want that forever, and it's taken me a long time to get to this place. I haven't always been the best communicator. I wasn't always connected with myself enough to understand my emotions, my feelings, my wants, needs, and desires. And so it's taken me a lot of growth and evolution as a woman to understand what it is you need to have a healthy, fun, and loving, passionate as ever type of relationship. So, some questions that I want you to think about is, are you honest with yourself? Are you open and transparent with your partner in aspects of your life, your feelings, wants, desires? the things that are important to you, are you expressing those things to your partner? And do you feel like you can be your authentic self with your partner? Think about these things because these core questions are going to be important to your happiness. Because gone are the days, at least I want to be, gone are the days where women are not standing up for what they believe in, for what they want. We deserve all the fucking love in the world. And we need to know ourselves at our core in order to get what it is we want with our life. To have the best love there was, we need to understand what it is we want in order for us to do that, right? So that's what I got on honesty today, mamas. Thank you so much for being here with me. Please join Moms Unboxed Facebook group. I'm so excited about this space. I'm so excited about growing it and being a safe space for women and moms to come in and be their authentic self and get tips on emotional intelligence and elevating relationships, intimacy, and parenting. Thank you so much again for joining me. We'll see you next week for another episode of Moms Unboxed. And don't forget to live a liberated, sensual, and unboxed life. Until the next time, sunshine. Thank you again for joining me for another episode of Moms Unboxed. If you have a topic or relationship question, connect with me at I am Melanie Caroline. And don't forget to follow Moms Unboxed. May you live a liberated, sensual, and unboxed life. Until the next time, sunshine.